Kings Island is an amusement park located in Mason, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati, Ohio. The park opened in 1972. It was part of a project to move and expand Coney Island, a popular resort destination along the banks of the Ohio River. Kings Island has invested more than $300 million in new rides and attractions to draw guests into the park. It's owned and operated by Cedar Fair, one of the major amusement park chains in America. The park consists of 15 roller coasters, from big to small, including the brand new Snoopy Soapbox Racers opening in 2024. It also has 49 total rides, including 3 water attractions inside the main park, as well as an entire water park called Soak City, which was added in 1989. They host 2 main events during the year: their Halloween event called Haunt, and their Christmas event called Winterfest. So now, let's get into my rankings for each coaster at Kings Island. Great Pumpkin Coaster. This E&F Myler Kids Coaster is definitely great fun for kids, but it's not really special. It doesn't do too much. It just serves its purpose. Flying Ace Aerial Chase. While I didn't find this Vekoma suspended family coaster to be as bad as people say, it still falls to 13 for me. I can see why people would think it's rough, but I personally didn't think it was rough. The reason it falls so low for me is because it didn't really do anything during the ride. It's just a lot of very slow, helix turns, and that's pretty much about it. Woodstock Express. This is the third of this cloned ride that I've been on, and to be honest, it's probably the worst of them. This PTC Woody still beats the other 2 family rides due to it having a few pops of airtime, and is just a fun, enjoyable ride. Backlot Stunt Coaster. While it's the same ride as the ones at King's Dominion and Canada's Wonderland, I think this is my favorite. It felt a little bit more forceful to me, and every single effect worked. Can't say the same about the one at King's Dominion. The Bat. This aero suspended coaster is a very fun ride experience. However, my only gripe with it is its length. Maybe I'm just used to Iron Dragon being a longer ride, but this just felt a little too short. Other than that, it's a pretty good family ride that everyone can enjoy. Adventure Express. This Aero Mine Train is one of the best I've ever been on. From the drops, to the forces, to the speed, to the themed lift hill, this ride has it all. Anyone can ride this and come off impressed. The only ride that compares to this is Thunderation at Silver Dollar City. Invertigo. Every Vekoma inverted Boomerang I've been on has been terrible, but this one kinda blew me away. It was just comfortable enough for me to actually enjoy how forceful of a ride these are. Normally I'm just focused on not bashing my head, so I never really noticed just how intense they are. I very much enjoyed this ride. Flight of Fear. Flight of Fear at Kings Island is an indoor premier ride launch coaster, and it's the same as the one found at King's Dominion. I don't think this was better or worse, it was pretty much just the same ride. I still enjoyed Joker's Jinx at Six Flags America a bit more than both Flight of Fears, just because there is no mid-course brake run on Joker's Jinx, and the ones on Flight of Fear really slow the ride down. Racer. This PTC dueling wooden coaster was a huge surprise for me. The ride is glass smooth, and actually provides some sweet floater airtime. I definitely prefer this one over Racer 75 at King's Dominion, considering that ride doesn't really do much. This ride was definitely a highlight of my visit. The Beast. The world's longest wooden roller coaster at over 7,300 feet of track is a phenomenal ride through the trees behind Kings Island. It's a bit rough, but if you sit in a non-wheel seat, it's much more enjoyable. The second half is where this ride really shines. The massive helix at the bottom of the second drop is so forceful, it's like a giant version of a Music Express. You just get pushed into the side of the seat. Overall, I'd say this is one of my favorite wooden coasters. Mystic Timbers. This GCI wooden coaster is a great ride that travels out over the river and over the rapids ride. It's filled with laterals and quick pacing, which makes the experience great. I wouldn't say there's much airtime, which was kind of a letdown, but it was still a very fun ride experience. I just wouldn't say it's a top tier GCI like some people say. Banshee. The world's longest inverted coaster is one of the best I've ever been on. It was far more intense than I was expecting. I even found it more intense than Afterburn at Carowinds, which I thought was the most intense invert I had ever been on. The inversions are all massive, and it pulls some really awesome G's in the valley of each element. Diamondback. This is currently my favorite B&M hyper. The airtime just doesn't disappoint on any of the hills. The worst you'll get is some light floater on the second to last hill, but even that was pretty fun. This is one ride you gotta get on if you're not a fan of B&M hypers. Orion. This B&M Giga Coaster is now my favorite ride at the park, and I think it's severely underrated. It may not be as good as Fury 325 at Carowinds, but man, this ride still packs a punch for what it is. The drop is phenomenal, and there are pops of strong airtime in places you would not expect. This ride has turned Kings Island into a must-visit park for me every single year. Overall, I'd say this is the second best Cedar Fair park, behind Cedar Point. The coaster collection alone beats all the others. My only advice to the park would be to give the water park a new investment or maybe even two. It's a good water park and it gets the job done, but it's missing a few key attractions that could make the water park great, like a water coaster or a funnel slide. If you've never been to Kings Island before and are thinking about planning a trip, I definitely recommend it, especially if you're on your way to Cedar Point. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.